Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to dive right in to the new Makeup by Mario eyeshadow palette. Everything will be linked down below. If you're excited about this, give it a thumbs up and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I've got you zoomed in. I want to talk about the palette, compare it to his original Ethereal eyes, and then also just give you some swatches and close-ups. So this is the brand new Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Eyeshadow Palette Nature Edition. So it does retail for $69. Everything is getting more expensive, but I do believe that his last one was $68, so I don't think it's too big of a jump. This is made in the USA. It is available now at Sephora, and I think also his website, so I will have all the links down below. It is vegan and cruelty-free with a 12-month shelf life, and in here you get 12 eyeshadows. So I've already swatched this. It has this really pretty kind of like green shade in here, but overall it is just a neutral palette. There's that pop, and then this really pretty like burgundy metallic. Now I did notice when I was swatching these that the shimmers feel different. It's hard to tell until I get them on the eyes, because when I was looking at swatches under different lighting, they look very similar, but if you touch these shimmer shades, they're very, very thin and quite dry, and some of them seem to have a little bit more glitter and a little bit more pigment, whereas other ones are a little bit translucent. If you've ever used his Ethereal Eyes eyeshadow palettes, the shimmers in here are more like sophisticated glitter is what I like to say. They are not a full body shimmer or metallic. They're more of like a topper, so they're very, very glittery and low lighting, and they're more sheer overall. So I am intrigued to get this on my eyes and see if I notice a difference, because his previous palettes, it really does look like you have this like insane glitter. So interested, because I did notice that. I do really like the tones of matte in here. I think that there's a nice variation, although I will say that I don't think you're going to get really intense looks with this palette, because the deepest shade is this brown matte. You do also have this metallic shade, but really it's more of an everyday natural nature type of palette. And when you compare this to his previous Ethereal Eyes palette, I can see similarities in some of the matte shades, particularly just the warm kind of browns, but this does have more of like a peachy pink hue right here, and then the toppers or the glitters overall have more of a cool tone to them, whereas in the new Nature palette, it's more of that like warm kind of bronzy coppery, and then you do have that one green shade. So I'm excited to try this on. I want to go ahead and zoom you in closer, and let's just go ahead and apply it and see what we think. Okay, so I've got you zoomed in, and I want to tell you what base I'm using. I'm going to be using the Morphe Airplay Cream Eyeshadow. This is very similar to a MAC paint pot, and I like to use this for a little bit of grip if I'm working with something that is a little bit more sheer or has that like glittery fallout. So I'm using this as my base, and I did not set it, which is why you see some creasing. So I'm just going to tap those out, and we're gonna cover them anyways. And I wanna start off, I'm thinking, should I just go for the green? Because I think I'm just gonna have to. So I'm gonna start with this green shade, and I'm gonna use my finger, and this is what it swatches like. So I want to tap this on the lid, and using a cream shadow or just like a tacky base without powder will give you that kind of stick or grip. So you can see what this looks like. So I'm just gonna kind of soften around, and this is just gonna be a building block, if you will. I feel like that first shade really looks beautiful. Next, I'm gonna dip into this really warm brown shade, and I want to apply this on the outer edge and then sweep around. It's another reason why I didn't want to set my lid, because when you do your shimmer first, you can obviously lose some of that intensity when you start blending the edges around, which I still think we will, but I will kind of go back in and adjust. And I'm not looking for this shade to be perfectly blended because I'm building on this, so I'm going to take a lighter shade and go around the edges to soften. Next, I'm gonna go into this really warm tan shade, and I'm gonna use this to make sure that everything is blended more seamlessly. So I'm kind of making circles just around the edge of that previous matte. So far, I'm not having any struggles. I did feel like his original Ethereal Eyes palette was a little bit powdery, and I felt like I did have some sort of like dusting away when I was blending the mattes, and I'm not feeling that today. I'm wondering if it is because I am somebody that typically does set my lids with powder, and I think this formula just works better with a little bit of something to grip to. And to soften those edges even more, I'm gonna jump into this shade. It's an interesting one. It's like a cream, but it's not like a brow bone cream for my skin tone. Has like a kind of a yellow custardy undertone. I'm just gonna fluff this pretty much all around the edges, overlapping that other shade we just used. Hopefully you can see when you compare the two eyes just what doing that does. It just softens and makes it not look so choppy. Dipping back into that first shade that we used, I just want to add a smidge of this lower so that we don't lose that depth. And then going into the lightest shade in here, this has kind of some sparkles in it, but it's like a matte with sparkles. So I'm going to use this a little bit, just like right on the brow bone. Now I'm gonna go into that deep chocolatey matte. I'm gonna use a flat, wow. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use a flat, it's too early for this, okay? I'm gonna use a flat brush, and I want to stamp this at the lash line. And then kind of fluff it out. And I'm not worried about that being messy because I will just sharpen it when I clean up the fallout. And sometimes I go like in the wrong angle. So I just kind of clean it up and then reset and kind of adjust. And if I need a little bit more of a detail brush, this is my absolute favorite, the BabsBeauty 208. It is tiny, so I can use this to really detail work. Especially if you need like more of a flick or you have hooded eyes. And once I have the general shape of my wings, I want to go back into that green shade, and I just want to restore some of what we lost here. And then I also want to play around with like one or two other shades. I think this one maybe will do. So I'm going to go in with this light shimmery shade. It just adds an extra element of sparkle. I'm gonna pull it up pretty high. Also kind of lightens up the look a little bit. And then finally, I'm gonna go back into that original shade, again, just to make sure that I have some depth in this outer edge here. Okay, so I think I'm gonna leave the top of the eyes there. I wanna go ahead and throw on some lashes, mascara, the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to finish the lower lash line. But honestly, so far, everything is blending super easily. I'm actually really happy with this, so I'm excited to see how I finish this look off. Okay, so I am back. I did the majority of my makeup. I just have to do some finishing touches, but I want to finish off the lower lash line. I think these lashes are pretty, but they are like not wanting to stay up, so it's driving me a little crazy. But I want to go back in to the Mario palette, and I am going to dip into this shade that we originally used. I'm going to use a really, really small pencil brush, and I want to put this tight up against the lower lash line. I don't know what is happening outside, but there's like a gaggle of, I was gonna say a gaggle of geese. They're not geese. Crows, an army of crows, if you will. I don't know. There's a whole bird situation happening and they're like squawking intensely. And I'm like, are y'all okay? We do also have, I think they're called Cooper's hawks back here. I think maybe some of that noise is them too, because could also be them, but I don't know if they're like having, you know, having it out with the crows or what. And then I'm actually gonna take a smidge of that same color mixed in with this shade on a BK 204. I wanna use this mixture to kind of just smoke. And then dipping into that really rich chocolate shade with that same flat brush and basically doing the same thing, just stamping right at the lash line. I just had a little fallout here, but I think it should wipe away. So I'm almost like pressing it. And then for the waterline, I'm gonna use this Hung Van Gogh Soften the Edge liner. These remind me so much of the Marc Jacobs liners. They're like incredibly creamy, but they last. Wow, I just think that shade is so pretty. I'm gonna run a little bit up here to tight line. I actually have a specialist eye appointment literally in like 2 hours, and I don't think he's gonna be thrilled that I'm wearing makeup, but I really wanted to film this. So if I have time, I might have to like wash this off real quick because I feel like he's gonna be like, what are we doing? I have something going on with my lid. I don't know, they flipped my lid up, and at a normal, I was gonna say a normal vet. Wow, I'm losing it because I'm dealing with my dog too, but a normal eye doctor, they flipped my lid up because I've just had like irritation on this eyelid when I wear contacts, and I've tried all different brands. And she said there was like scar tissue under my eyelid. And she was like, have you ever had an injury? And I was like, no. So I'm going to a specialist. So I just can't wait. But I'm gonna go back into the palette, into this lighter mid-tone with a Rephr 13 Mini. Just want to soften very lightly. That is so pretty. Like, I really love how this turned out. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some mascara on my bottom lashes, get everything together, finishing touches, and then we will come back and I'll give you my initial first impression. All right, guys, so here's my finished makeup look I created using the new Makeup by Mario palette. So let's go over my thoughts. I have to say that this is my favorite Ethereal palette that he has come out with. And I don't know if there's a slight formula change in the mattes just being not quite as powdery and the shimmers just being a little bit more finely milled. I would say a little bit more sophisticated. I know that we're kind of in this realm of we want it to be like insane. The more glittery and metallic, the better. But Makeup by Mario being a makeup artist, I think that he's after that like really glowy, kind of scattered, glimmery look, not necessarily chunky glitter. So I think that the shimmers in here are just a little bit more fine, a little bit more sophisticated, but you still get that like beautiful glittery look. I feel like everything blended beautifully. I had zero issues with any of the mattes, and I struggled with the mattes in the original Ethereal eyes. I think it was something to do with powdering my lid prior to doing my eyeshadow. So I definitely recommend not setting your lid and using like an eye base like I did. I love the Morphe ones. I can't tell you how easy this look was. For it being so dramatic, I did not have any choppiness, any patchiness. I mean, I really did not struggle at all. I love the tones in here. I think that they are, of course, neutrals, which are boring or basic, but that's what I reach for the most. And you do have the option to play a little bit with either the green shade that I used today, or you could use this full body metallic, which is like this really pretty burgundy. I have zero complaints about this. Honestly, I love this look. I just feel like it's sultry and smoky and sexy, but it was just super easy to create. And the mattes in here are shades that I would use every single day. If I had to critique, really the only thing that I could think of was that it could have used one more matte, like a deeper brown, because you do have this really rich chocolate brown. And then you also have this one, which is like a pretty rich mid-tone brown. But I'm thinking for those of you with like a deeper skin tone, I don't think you're gonna be able to do intensely smoky looks with this, even those with my skin tone. Really, these are the two deep shades that you have to like build depth, and they worked beautifully for me. I had no issues, but I'm just thinking about people that are much tanner or deeper complected. So just keep that in mind, but it is the nature palette, the natural palette. So I don't think that the goal was to have like super intense, deep, smoky looks. So I have to recommend this. I think this is beautiful. I had literally zero issues with it, and I love the look that I created. I'm excited to play with it more. So let me know if you guys pick this up or if you're going to. If you have it, let me know what your thoughts are. Are you loving it? Do you have any issues with it? And let me know what you think about this look. I have to say it's really beautiful. I'm very, very happy with it. So I will link this down below, as well as all of the other makeup that I am wearing. I've been trying some new things and I found some new favorites that I'm really excited about. So all of the links and everything will be down below. But I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy this video and you found it helpful, give this video a thumbs up. If you're new here, I hope you stick around and subscribe. As always, thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.